Michelle, I'll start with you. What are you hearing on the ground there?
Well, this is a city that has been traumatized on several levels. It's early in the morning. The city is just starting to wake up, and all over this city, there are thousands of ICE agents that are hanging out in front of places where people are starting to go to work, dropping their kids off at school, and where you might expect that the tactics that they use might tampen down a little bit in the wake of the shooting last Wednesday. They seem to be accelerating. They're ever more aggressive, more militaristic in their tactics. The weekend has been full of reports because they're monitored as they move around the city. So all of this is being captured on video. They're monitored, and reports of people being pulled out of their cars. In one case, guns drawn, broke into a home and took a family. And yet there are thousands of people. There are 11 different organizations that are working in the city of Minneapolis, another similar number in St. Paul and throughout the state, following them, trying to monitor what they're doing, blowing whistles and kazoos and horns to let people know when they're coming. So there's the deportations, which local people here call kidnappings, are continuing. And there's a real concern that Minneapolis is being used as a proving ground, that the Minnesotans are trying to hold the line because they worry that if this is acceptable here, if this is normalized here, this is something that all of America will have to get used to.
Michelle, I'm just wondering, we know that the Secretary Noem was sending more ICE officers into the area, suggesting that the fraud scandal that's taking place there needed more people to investigate it. But is the increased presence of ICE something that's visible?
It's very visible. You see it as you drive around the city. You see caravans moving around. You'll happen upon a deportation that's happening. You'll see them gathering in large numbers, I guess planning what they're next. We were at a gas station yesterday, and a group of them just pulled up right next to us. And so they're very visible. But what you said about them coming here to investigate fraud, people here are really curious about that because the fraud case is real. Hundreds of millions of dollars. Very real. A 10-year-old case, most of the people involved in that case have already been convicted and are incarcerated. And many of the deportations that are taking place, the raids, they have nothing to do with fraud. They're well beyond the Somali community. They're all over the city and all over the state. So that may be the justification for coming in here, but most of the deportations don't seem to be directly attached to that. And there's a real concern here about the case of Renee Good and how that will be adjudicated. People are worried that the administration has already come to a conclusion on that. You see that in the statements that they've made in the release of video to the public, but not to local officials here who have a concomitant investigation. And so people here are worried that the system in some ways is broken, but that it may already also be fixed, that they've already come to a conclusion about what they think about that, and they've come to a conclusion about what they're planning to do in this state. There is an assumption that they're going to be here for at least 60 days. So this is a long-term presence here, a presence that for people here who are on the ground feels very much like a siege or an occupation.
I want to bring in Minnesota Congresswoman Kelly Morrison. She and her colleagues, Ilhan Omar and Angie Craig, were denied entry to an ICE detention center in Minneapolis over the weekend. Congresswoman, can you explain to us what happened when you went to that federal facility?
Of course. So Congresswoman Omar, Craig, and I presented ourselves to the Whipple building to perform what is both our legal right and our constitutional duty to perform congressional oversight of this ICE facility. As you know, there's been a surge of ICE agents in our communities and in our state. It is sowing chaos and confusion and fear and terrorizing our communities. And we went there because we need transparency. You know, we lost Renee Good. She was killed in broad daylight, unarmed, in her car, mother of three. And they are now saying they want to do an investigation that excludes local law enforcement. You know, Minnesota has been through a series of tragedies over the past year. When my former friend and colleague Melissa Hortman and her husband were assassinated, There was a joint investigation with the feds and local law enforcement. When we had a mass shooting at Annunciation Catholic School, same thing. We had a cooperation between the feds and local law enforcement. There is no reason why we can't have a transparent investigation that involves local law enforcement as well as federal agencies so that we can get transparency and accountability. We need a thorough investigation.
The governor and the state attorney general have been very vocal about how this is not what typically happens. So I want to ask you about something else atypical. The day after the shooting of Renee Good, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced updated restrictions on congressional visits, requiring that the requests come either 7 days in advance or get her personal approval. Why do you believe that policy was changed, and is there anything you can do about it?
Well, that's certainly confusing, I think, to all of us, because we arrived holding the recent court case that is 3 weeks old that upheld our right to do our constitutional duty of oversight. The ICE agents that we interacted with shrugged that off and said, basically, too bad, you have to leave. So the thing that I think is sort of interesting is not only did congressional leadership not know about this new policy, not only did House counsel not know about this new policy, not only did the American public not know about this new policy, the ICE agents, Kristi Noem's ICE agents on the ground in Minnesota did not know about this new policy. So I'm left to wonder if perhaps that was a backdated policy. But either way, Chris, I'm a physician, and of course medical offices and hospitals are often subject to surprise visits. You think about restaurants and local health agencies. You don't give 7 days notice because you can clean things up. The point is to arrive at a random moment so you can get the best sense of whether the rules and regulations are being followed. So it's hard to square the timeline that Secretary Noem has presented to us.
I wonder what you make of the statement that DHS put out that Nnamdi just read for us, because these accusations that people are being picked up, we again just heard about a woman just being taken from a bus stop, that they are racially profiling, to which they said that they are following the rules, which is they should have a reasonable suspicion that someone is illegally in the U.S., not their skin color. What's your sense of that, and who might be in that facility that you want to be able to look at?
Well, I would say that statement reflects the reaction to all of the footage of Renee Good's killing. They are asking us to not believe what we are seeing with our own eyes. If you talk to anyone on the ground in Minneapolis and in the Twin Cities metro area, they will tell you that people of color, people of Latino descent are afraid to go to school. They are afraid to go to work. They are afraid to go to church. And we are seeing indiscriminate takings of people by this masked secret police that is ICE.
MS Now senior contributing editor Michelle Norris, live from Minneapolis. Thank you very much for your reporting on the ground. Chris Matthews, I just want to get your gut feelings on what's happening. There are so many ways in which this ICE shooter, very obviously, to anyone who can research law enforcement procedure, did not follow procedure, walking in front of the car, shooting at the car. But I want to ask you about the very quick coarsening of human emotions that are happening throughout the process of covering this. Seeing conversations online, on TV, podcasters, one who was even a lawyer, claims to be a lawyer, saying that this was a tragedy of her making, that she deserved to be shot in the face. And I'm trying to think of any scenario in which a 37-year-old mom driving a Honda Pilot with stuffies in the glove compartment deserves to be shot in the face from 1 to 2 feet away. Am I wrong to think that this is taking us down a very dangerous, dark hole?
Well, Michelle,